Congresswoman Elise, Republican of New York and chair of the House Republican Conference. So much to get to here. I mean, there was the big protest yesterday. I don't know who they think they're persuading. And you had this quote from Walter Russell Mean in the Wall Street Journal saying that tensions between Bibi Netanyahu and Kamala Harris. Harris is expected to meet Netanyahu during his visit to Washington, but the snub is unmistakable. It is fueling rumors of a rift between the Harris and Biden approaches to the Middle East. How do you see it this morning, Congresswoman?
Well, this is a snub, and it is a boycott, and it is absolutely a disgrace that the sitting vice president of the United States would not attend what I believe will be one of the most important speeches at one of the gravest national security threats that the world faces. That is the bloodiest day for the Jewish people when Hamas attacked, a terrorist group backed by Iran, attacked Israel, our most precious ally. So it is inexcusable. But Dana, this is where the Democrat Party is today. As Bill Hemmer just said, that number is going to be over 80 Democrats who boycott this important joint address. House Republicans are committed to strongly supporting Israel. We will continue to show that moral and national security leadership on the world stage. And Prime Minister Netanyahu is making history today. This will be the head of state who has delivered the most joint addresses to the United States Congress, beating Winston Churchill. I think back to my freshman term in 2015, Prime Minister Netanyahu delivered another historic speech to Congress. It was the first one I ever attended, talking about his opposition to the flawed Iranian nuclear agreement. And you know who boycotted that? Joe Biden when he was vice president. So this is today's Democrat Party. It's a disgrace.
Here's a montage of Democrats saying that they won't go and why.
I am not attending. I don't think Benjamin Netanyahu has any interest in getting to peace in the Middle East.
I certainly am not going to go. I didn't go the last time he was here. I will never be supporting him.
I'm not going because Benjamin Netanyahu has led that region into a complete humanitarian disaster.
Why don't they ever blame Hamas?
It's because they are becoming the pro-terrorist wing of the Democrat Party. Again, take a step back, Dana. Israel is a growing democracy, the strongest democracy, the only democracy in the Middle East. They have respect for human rights, and they have a right to defend themselves. What I hope and I believe we will hear from Prime Minister Netanyahu is how we're going to eradicate the terrorist who slaughtered civilians in Israel, beheaded babies, burnt women, and have 8 Americans who were abducted and kidnapped, who are being burrowed away in tunnels among the terrorist regime in Gaza. So we, as the United States, need to strongly stand with Israel. House Republicans are committed to doing so. And President Trump was the strongest U.S. president when it comes to supporting Israel. Compare that with Kamala Harris, who is refusing to attend this address.
Also want to get to this. You have introduced a resolution condemning the border czar, Kamala Harris, over her role in the crisis. You say that the record, this is the record we have here. She was okay with taxpayer-funded health care for illegal immigrants, decriminalizing border crossing, so no penalties for lawbreakers, and support of sanctuary cities, limiting cooperation with federal authorities. The spokesman for the White House, Andrew Bates, he says as we speak, congressional Republicans continue their months-long blockade of critical resources for ICE and the Border Patrol in the tough bipartisan border security agreement supported by the Biden-Harris administration. Is she on her back foot when it comes to this issue, getting into this race?
She's on her back foot. She's going to even be more on her back foot. And I think we're at a high water mark for Kamala Harris's polling. It's going to go lower. She was designated by Joe Biden as the border czar. And what has happened? The most catastrophic open border in our nation's history. The #1 issue, no matter what congressional district, no matter what state you poll, is this border crisis. And Kamala Harris owns it lock, stock, and barrel. She oversaw the gravest national security threat, economic threat, the fact that 500 individuals on the terrorist watch list crossed the border illegally during Kamala Harris's role as border czar. She owns this border crisis, and it's going to be a driving factor going into this election cycle. And again, Dana, as Democrats in backroom deals didn't allow voters across this country to select their nominee, Kamala Harris has been designated by Democrat donors and Democrat elites. But the American people are smart. They know that she owns the failures of the Biden-Harris administration, whether it's the border crisis, whether it's the historic inflation crisis, and voters are going to hold her accountable. Compare that to the success, the most secure border border in modern history under President Trump and the booming economy. So I think this will be a stark contrast and choice this election cycle this November, and President Trump is going to win on these issues.
So much more to talk about with you. Please keep us posted on how that speech goes today. Netanyahu addressing the Congress at 2 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana.